So, good morning. Happy new month. It is the 1st of August 2023. This is a new month, a very beautiful month. Welcome to Mid Morning Show. I'm your host, Mary Oswero.
I'm Regina Ayanai.
Yes, today we are having a very interesting topic. Our main topic of the day will be the impacts of agrochemicals on environment and human health. That will be our main topic of the day. But before we continue, we'd like just to remind you that this is a farmers media where we connect, learn, and grow. And this is our mid morning show, our daily mid morning show. We are here from Monday to Friday,
Yes.
from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So today, as we'll be tackling our topic, you can tag along with us on our social media platforms. We'll be live on Facebook at a farmers media, on YouTube at a farmers media, on Twitter at afarmers with a Z underscore media, and on our website www.afarmersmedia.com.
Yeah, be sure that you're going to learn a lot from us today. And I know that this is the one and only show, the mid morning show, that take us to the deep world of understanding what fuels our farm. So, welcome and stay tuned.
Yeah, ensure you stay tuned. You can send us your comments, your feedbacks. We are here to read all of them. Ask us your questions on the comment section. We'll be here to answer them. If at all we are not able to answer them, just like we always say, an expert will be there next time to answer your questions. But the ones that you can answer, we are here to answer them. And then also, we are here to learn from you as you learn from us. So ensure that you also teach us in the comment section anything that you feel we've left out, or anything that you feel our viewers should know. You can tell us in the comment section. We'll educate them through you.
Yes, and most of you have different contents, different skills on different topics. You might be experienced in this kind of a topic, and you know that I have so much experience in this section. If you are willing, just go to our Facebook page and then book your appointments. We'll be able to, and then you'll come here and educate others who don't know some type of information.
Yes. So today we have a different pattern. We are going to work with a different pattern from today onwards. Tunataka kuchambua gazeti. The agriculture magazines.
Yeah.
We are here to chambua with you.
Yeah.
The agriculture magazine, so that you also get to know what other farmers are doing out there, anything that they have to educate us on concerning maybe their products, their crops, their animals. And today I'd like us to talk about garlic farming. It's a very nice article written by Vincent Kipiegon. Yeah, so we'll be talking about garlic farming. He has at least broken it down for us to understand. So I want to break it down for our viewers also to understand about garlic farming. Actually, garlic farming, it's a lucrative agribusiness venture with high demand. For those who don't know what garlic is, in Kenya, mostly in Swahili, we call it kitungu saumu. Yeah, it's somehow white. Sometimes it's white.
It is whitish. It is cream. There's another one that looks like creamish. Then there is another one that is white, and it contains many pieces inside. When you see the garlic, you see that when you remove the upper layer, you find that it has so many pieces inside. It can even be more than 10 pieces.
And it's nutritious. Garlic is so nutritious, and it's also medicinal.
Is it medicinal?
Yes.
Oh, for curing cold.
Yeah. When we had COVID-19, when COVID-19 attacked our country, people were being advised to take concoction, a mixture of lemon, garlic.
I had that
with warm water.
Yeah, and people were doing that. Yeah, people were doing that, and they also say that it cured corona, of which I never really know if it was the truth or not.
I think it was the truth. I tried it. I was a victim.
Oh, you are a victim of coronavirus?
Yes, those people were saying that coronavirus did not exist.
Then I have strong immune system because I didn't get such kind of a thing.
It existed in some parts of the country, by the way. It attacked some people like me, and the concoction helped. It really came through.
Okay.
Yeah, so garlic is a high value crop and herb from onion family. Actually, it's just like an onion. It's only that now it has so many pieces. But when you look at its shape, even before you start removing the pieces. It has the shape of an onion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's used for both medicinal purposes and to spice food. Have you ever tasted food with garlic?
Of course. I don't eat, actually, I don't cook meat without garlic. Like, meat without garlic for me is a no-go zone. Like, I must use garlic because it gives such a spicy, like, it gives the food that taste, the taste that everybody wants to have. But not everybody loves spices, actually, because I have a brother and he doesn't take any kind of spices, be it pepper, be it garlic, be it any kind of spices except onions. Yeah.
Okay. So garlic is also a spice. Garlic farming, just like we said before, it's a lucrative agribusiness activity. It requires careful attention to details. Yeah, and it has health benefits. So
Yes.
one of the health benefits is to boost the immune system. Just like we mentioned during the COVID-19 pandemic, people were advised to take garlic. Garlic was part of the concoction that people were being advised to take. So it boosts.
Maybe that is the reason why my immune system was. I didn't get corona that time.
Because you used to take a lot of garlic.
Yeah.
Okay, it strengthens the immune system defense against bacterial and viral infection, and it is an effective prescription for the treatment of flu and pressure. For the pressure, I'm learning it today.
Me too.
I didn't know that garlic inasaidia kwa pressure.
I just know the flu part.
Yeah, the flu part, that one it works. For the pressure, I think if you have pressure, now today you know garlic can really help.
Yeah.
Yes. It also promotes cardiovascular health. It improves blood circulation and decreases blood pressure. If you have blood pressure, garlic is the way to go. It helps reduce the cholesterol levels in the body.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's new. So if you're fat and you eat a lot of garlic, then your fat is likely to reduce.
You're body shaming people.
No, like the people who want to lose weight. It's not about body shaming. There are people who are like they have that body size, a huge body size, and they have been and they have been trying to lose weight. For me, I've been trying to gain weight. You see, so there is a difference between the two of us. You are trying to gain weight, and I'm trying. You are trying to lose weight, and I'm trying to gain weight. You see, so sometimes it's not body shaming; it's just acceptance. You just say that for me, it's if someone tells me that I'm thin, I'm slim, I won't take it personal because it is true. I'm slim. That's not body shaming.
So
it's just a comment.
They're plump, not fat.
Not fat. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, they are plump. The people who are plump who are trying to lose the weight. You can use garlic, by the way.
It helps to lose cholesterol.
Yeah. At least you cannot get tired doing exercises every day without any success. So include garlic in your exercise.
But then again, you can't eat garlic in meat or in beef and expect to reduce weight. That one you're lying to yourself because you're taking proteins and then you're having garlic there. It's not healthy. So there are two categories of garlic actually in Africa. There's a soft neck and a hard neck. Soft neck category is commonly grown in Kenya actually. Varieties that fall within the category are the African giant, Arusha giant, and Rwanda giant. They come in variety of colors from white to purple. Actually, I was talking about different colors of garlic because I think I've seen a purple garlic.
A purple garlic?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I've only seen a purple cabbage. I don't know it's cabbage or what. It looks like cabbage, but it's purple. But I don't know what
that is. A type of cabbage because cabbage also has varieties. Yes. So just like we were saying, there are two types: the soft neck and the hard neck. Mostly the ones you see in Kenya, these ones are the soft neck. These are white.
Oh, that's the white ones.
The white ones. They're also grown in Arusha and in Rwanda. The soft neck ones. Now we'll get to know where. Next time we'll get to know where the hard neck. I don't know why they're calling them neck, but it's okay. Next time we get to know why the hard neck, where the hard neck is grown.
Yeah, or maybe in the comment section, if you know why they call this type of garlic the hard neck, you can tell us about it so that you can also inform others who don't know why they are called the hard neck.
Yes, and also I'll just give you a simple way of planting garlic, though it's not part of our topic today, but we are here to educate you. So I'll just briefly explain to you a simple way of planting garlic. First of all, you plow an open land twice. Hurry to break hard pans to achieve fine tilt and level surface. You plow. Ensure you plow an open land twice. You don't just plow it once. If you want to plant garlic, do it twice, and then broadcast and mix the soil with manure a few days to planting. I think at this point, first of all, when you're planting garlic, you are encouraged to use manure.
The manure will help the garlic mature in the right way, right?
Yes, and it will also help the soil. It will add nutrients to the soil. We prefer manure when you want to plant. Yes, maybe you can use fertilizers later on, but first of all, you use manure. And then you create 25 centimeter ditches. Each ditch should be separated by 15 centimeter from each plant and 30 centimeter between rows. One garlic club should be planted with its root end down and its tip facing up. Cover the club with a shallow layer of soil. This is where spacing comes in. Yeah, when you're planting garlic, definitely you need enough spacing.
Yeah, and by now, if you have been listening to us, you know what you should do during planting season and how you should space your crops.
Yeah, for garlic, it is 15 centimeter from each plant and 30 centimeter between rows. So those figures are very important when it comes to planting garlic. And then the garlic germinates after 7 to 10 days, and for it to germinate, definitely watering is key. You have to water your garlic in order for them to germinate within that 7 to 10 days. You can't just plant them and then you leave them there telling yourself, 7 to 10 days my garlic will be good. You have to water them in order for them to germinate.
And of course, there is no plant that can grow without water. Yeah, maybe the semi-arid areas, it contains cactus which can survive without water. But something like garlic, you can't tell me that you are going to plant it and then forget watering it.
Yeah,
that is like wasting your time in that
irrigation is very important. Irrigation is important. Mulching is important. Weeding is important. And just like we always say, we encourage hand weeding, because you can use those hoes or jembes to weed. And maybe in one way or the other, they'll kill the organisms that are there that are adding nutrients to your soil.
Yeah, not even killing the organism alone. You can injure the plant in the process of trying to remove those weeds using those kind of things. So weeding, hand removing the weeds using hands is also the cheapest method.
Actually, I've had so many plants while weeding.
Yeah.
And I just assume while I was just weeding using a jembe, ungepata natoa mahindi and then niko like, it's okay.
You see now.
There's another one. These other ones, at least they will grow.
You see now the need for experts in that field
Yeah.
Like the ones who are like, they are used to using these kind of tools in weeding their crops. If that is easy for you and you know that you can't be able to hurt these plants, then it is well and good. But the cheapest way is hand weeding, because it is not a lot of work. Yeah, it can be a lot of work, but it's not that much work compared to other practices.
Yeah, and just like any other plant, garlic also gets attacked by pests and diseases. So garlic is a pest repellent crop that produces strong pungent smell that deters pests and diseases. But even if it has that strong smell, pests can still attack it. So when you have garlic in your farm, you ensure that you're also keen and you also check out your plants each and every time to ensure that no pests and diseases get to attack them that much. You have to control the pests and diseases.
Yeah. Kindly closely monitor your plants as they grow in the field. That will help a lot.
And the harvesting and post-harvesting, garlic is ready to harvest after about 4 months. That is quite a short time. Yeah, if you plant garlic, if you're a farmer who plants garlic, even at this point, after 4 months you are harvesting, definitely you have a good market out there, because that is so fast. 4 months.
But again, it requires patience. You see, those 4 months before you harvest those garlic,
you have to do a lot. Before you harvest good products, you have to do a lot. Irrigation, you ensure there are no pests and diseases that are attacking them, so that after 4 months you are good.
And if you're not patient enough, then you're not a good farmer. Because a farmer is a patient person. He'll stay there, water the plants, do everything, weed, irrigation, everything, and then waits for another 3 months or 4 months for the crops to grow well, for the harvest to be ready. You see? So if you are a farmer, always be patient, because patience pays.
And garlic, just like any other plant, they also have good market opportunities. Yes, the prices of garlic vary depending on season and grading. It ranges from around 150 shillings to 250 shillings per kilogram. A piece of garlic head goes for about 10 shillings and 50 shillings. These 50 shillings.
Is it true it goes for 10 shillings?
Yeah, in some parts of the country.
Yeah, in some parts, but not in Nairobi. In Nairobi, actually, I buy garlic at 30 shillings. A small one.
Now you're even being sold garlic at a cheaper price now. 30 shillings.
Yeah. The small one. It's not the big one. A small piece of garlic. You use it like rice, and it is done.
Okay, I think the big one is around 50 shillings. Yeah, so that's all we have about garlic. I just broke it down for you to understand the little bit of it. I could not read for you the whole article, but at least we now understand what garlic is, where it is grown, how it can be grown, the spacing, the weeding, the irrigation, the harvesting, and also the marketing opportunities.
And to the next article, we are going to talk about poultry farming. We all know that this is a very popular type of farming across the country. Many farmers practice poultry farming, be it in rural areas, be it in urban centers. So it is a popular type of farming. So this, according to this article was written by Charles Kimani, and it says that poultry can be attributed to the low cost of production and the availability of ready market. And despite that, like any other business, poultry farmers face challenges throughout the year due to various factors. So everything has a consequences or a disadvantage. If you do something, always be aware of the disadvantages and both the advantages, just like poultry farming. So one of the things that poultry farmers face is the most common ones, diseases, especially during cold seasons. This is because cold and weather conditions affect chickens' ability to produce and lose heat at a balanced rate, and so their immune system is weakened, making them more susceptible to diseases.
I'm not sure if during cold seasons chicken get flu, but I know that chicken also get flu. Poultry, they also get flu. So during the cold season, you have to take good care of your poultry, or it's better to vaccinate them, I think, in order for them to be well during the cold season, so that they're not attacked by flu.
Yeah, some of the common diseases that affect chicken is fowlpox. Fowlpox is a disease that is transmitted by mosquitoes and flies, just like the way mosquito can transport malaria to human beings. You see, now if the mosquito transmits this thing, it becomes a fowlpox to the chicken. So signs and symptoms of fowlpox include pimples on the bird's comb. You see?
Okay. Yeah. So human beings get chicken pox and chicken get fowlpox.
Yes. You see, but now theirs is transmitted through malaria, like not malaria, through mosquitoes. And when the mosquitoes transmit this kind of parasite to them, they get fowlpox. But when they transmit the parasite to human beings, the human beings get malaria.
Okay. So the chicken that have fowlpox, they have. You say they have pimples.
Yeah, like they get pimples.
Can you eat a chicken that has fowlpox? That is my question of the day. You can tell me in the comment section if you can eat a chicken that have fowlpox, because I've never seen one.
Yeah. So they usually have these pimples on the bird's comb, wattle, and eyelids. Have you seen a chicken with many pimples here on the eyelids? Yeah, I've seen them, and I was always scared of them.
I thought it's the whole body. I thought it's the whole body of the chicken.
No, some parts of the chicken.
Oh,
the
okay.
whole body is covered with feathers. So when you raise the comb of the chicken, you'll see that it has pimples if it is infected with this fallpox. And then they also have watery eye discharge. You see the chicken is crying. Like you're like, why is this chicken crying? Of course, I've come across a lot of chickens that are having this watery discharge. And I always wondered, why is it happening? But little did I know that they have these fallpox. Okay. Now another thing is a wheezing sound. The sound they produce sometimes, you see, like there's.
I've heard the sound that the chicken produce when they're wheezing.
Yeah.
I've heard them.
And do you know that chicken lose appetite too?
I'm hearing that for the first time.
Now that is
I think
another.
it's because I've never been keen on the chicken. Yeah,
that's another sign of fallpox. The chicken lose appetite. So the disease also has the control measures. So they can be controlled by vaccination, just like the way you said. Vaccinate your chicken so that it can't get this fallpox.
And use the right vaccination that you've been instructed to use from the Agro vet. Don't just use any other vaccine that you just found in your neighbor's place. Or I see some people just use traditional ways, like taking what do we call this, aloe vera. Taking aloe vera and then draining the liquid from the aloe vera plant, aloe vera leaf, and then giving to the chicken. I'm not sure if that works, but that is a traditional way that I think I've come across. So the best way, just vaccinate your chicken.
Yeah, take your chickens for vaccination, or you can call the person in charge of vaccination to come and vaccine them at your home. And then there is elimination of mosquito breeding sites. Mosquito, they mostly breed in stagnant water. The water that are not moving, and then they really love that kind of thing. So when you put your chickens around your chicken's house, it's house or what? Yeah, just structure. Say house. Yeah, structure. When you put them in near a place that has stagnant water, then definitely your chicken will get fallpox, because this mosquito will migrate from this stagnant water and go to your chicken and infect them with fallpox. So make sure you drain all the stagnant water around your chicken structure. And then clear the bushes around. If there are any bushes around your chicken structure, make sure that you are clearing all of them. And then maintaining proper hygiene and sanitation. That is a very crucial thing, even to both human beings and animals. For your animals to not get this kind of diseases, make sure that you clear these, you clean their houses each and every time. At least you clean them after every day. Like you can stay one day and then tomorrow clean it, just like that. At least that will make your chicken not to fall into this type of fallpox.
Actually, when you visit these poultry farmers, those who do the large quantity poultry farming, you realize that before you get into the room where the kitchen are being kept, there's a liquid. They have a liquid in a basin. Some have it in a basin, that you have to, you can't just get in there with your shoes, like umetoka tu mali umetoka, and then you just come, you just get in. You can be having some infections, you've stepped on things that maybe can affect the chicken out there while you are coming. So you have to dip the sole of your shoes in that water. I think that water, they always put some pesticide or something, some chemical that kills the infections that maybe were in your shoes. So you dip the sole of your shoes in the water that is mixed with the chemical before you get into the room. That one really helps a lot, so that your poultry do not get infected.
Yeah, I've observed that in different places where they practice poultry farming. The farmers take initiative to protect the chicks. The chicks are very prone to diseases, even small diseases. So when you go into that house, there are specific shoes. In fact, there are specific shoes to go inside that chick's structure. So if you want to go to give them food or water, you make sure that you remove your shoes and then wear the shoes that are inside there, the shoes that are used to going around giving the chicks food. So another disease is coccidiosis. Coccidiosis, in cold season, we all want to make sure our windows and doors are locked and presumably to keep the cold away. So of course you can't sleep with all the windows open, the door is open, you don't have any blanket and expect that you'll be okay. Of course the cold will enter into your bones and you'll get pneumonia. So as farmers, we do the same for our poultry. We protect our poultry from this type of cold and from this type of diseases. So this organism, it's called Concidian. It causes this disease because of the high temperatures inside the coop and the presence of wet litter, and then they provide fertile ground for the Concidian. These hot temperatures, they encourage the growth of this Concidian organism that causes the disease. So signs and symptoms of Concidious disease include bloody diarrhea and a loss of appetite. You see, bloody diarrhea. You find that the chicken produce a certain kind of stool, a bloody one, and you are like, what is wrong with this chicken? And you know that when they get this kind of a disease, that's another sign of this Concidian disease. So be sure that you protect your chicken from cold. Make sure that their house is well groomed. It is warm.
And clean.
Yeah, and clean. Wash the house thoroughly. Most of the times you find that the pests there are these, I don't know, the insects. They love getting into the chicken feathers, the black ones. I don't remember the name, but in the next session when I remember the name, I'll tell you. So these insects invade the chickens because of those high temperatures.
Yeah, and the best way to get rid of them is spraying them. Definitely, there are chemicals that can kill such insects, or maybe prevention is the best cure. So, if you don't want such things to get into your poultry, just clean the house thoroughly. If possible, even use a chemical that has been prescribed from the Agro vet. Clean using that chemical or that pesticide so that those pests do not get into that room even before you take your chicken inside that room.
And fortunately, this disease can be managed using locally provided materials. You can use blackjack and mix them with a jar of water, a liter of water, and then give them to your chicken. Blackjack is it's also a weed, but you can. I think you have seen that. Have you
How
seen
do you
blackjack?
even collect blackjack?
Blackjack,
Just sticks
yeah, it
into your
sticks
clothes.
everywhere.
How are you going to collect the blackjack?
See, you just you break the branch of the blackjack and then you insert it in the water and then give that water to the chicken. It will prevent this type of a disease.
Okay.
And then there is brooder pneumonia. Wet litter is the main factor that contributes to majority of poultry diseases. Brooder pneumonia is not an exception, and poultry are infected by the inhalation of spores that are as a result of damp litter or food. So make sure you change the food of your chicken. They can't just eat one food, like you've placed the food today and you expect to give them another food after maybe 3 days or 4 days.
Actually, you'll find that when you have the chicken food in that room, after some hours, that food will be contaminated because definitely the chicken manure, their wastes, are now on that food. They have to eat that food. That food is already contaminated. You just look for a way, even if you can't throw it away, because I know it's expensive. If you can't throw it away, look for a way of sieving the waste materials from the. Actually, they mostly chicken take flour.
And flour and maize.
Yes.
And you know that when the chicken, they excrete and then they get into that waste material and then they enter into the food again, the food that they are eating. So they eat when they are on top of that food, you see. So if you continue like that, you just continue feeding them with such kind of food. Of course, they get this brooder pneumonia. Symptoms include open mouth breathing. You find the chicken staying like it is not breathing in the normal way. Chickens always breathe. You just find the chicken closing the mouth and then going. But
They only
at that
breathe like
moment,
that when they are thirsty.
yeah.
So you can be assuming that your chicken is thirsty, yet it's not. It's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, it can be sick, and you are just pretending that this chicken is just thirsty. So, uh, another another thing is that poor appetite. This is common among all the four causes. And then these deadly diseases can be prevented by removing moldy food and litter. If the food has developed mold, then remove it, and the also the litter around that environment where your poultry is. Remove all that litter, and then make sure that you remove the food that is infected by mold, because mold is very poisonous both to human beings and animals. So make sure you remove them. And then the fourth one is worms. They mostly infect internal organs such as the lungs and trachea. There are two groups of worm: round and flat worms. So common worms are tapeworms and flukes. Tapeworms and flukes, they mainly affect the intestines. I've read that in high school in biology, so I know that they mainly affect the intestines of the animals. So tapeworms invade the intestine, causing weakness and slow growth. You see, your chicken is never developing. It's the same size, same like it is the same. So, and flukes attach themselves inside the body or beneath the skin. The worms can be treated by adding garlic. We were talking about garlic.
Yeah, it's medicinal. I told you.
Diatomite and vinegar in their drinking water. You add the vinegar also in their drinking water. Can be good. So, always remember the best way to manage poultry disease is through proper feeding, good housing, and maintaining proper hygiene. So make sure that your chicken are doing great. Your chickens are in a good environment. They are in a clean environment. So yeah, that is all about poultry farming.
Okay, we are still live on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with the Z_media, and on our website www.afarmersmedia.com. And our main topic of the day, just like I said before, is impacts of agrochemicals on environment and human health. This is a very interesting topic. I believe that we'll all be educated by the time we are done with this topic. Yeah, so today we are going to discuss about the impacts of agrochemicals on environment and human health, not only on human health but also environment. So we'll break it down for you as our viewers to understand. If you have any questions, you can send us through the comment section. We'll read and answer all of them. If you have any comments, just down there. And also ensure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at A Farmers Media. We'll be excited to be engaging with you each and every day on a daily basis in our different shows. But first of all, let's dive into our topic. We have different impacts of agrochemicals on environment. When I talk about agrochemicals, this is what I mean. Agrochemicals such as pesticides and fertilizers have significant impacts on both environment and human health, just like I was saying before. The use of these chemicals can lead to water and soil contamination.
First of all, before you continue, let me define for them what agrochemicals are. So agrochemical are substances that are used in agriculture to manage pests, improve plant health, and increase productivity. So these chemicals include pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, fertilizers, and various plant growths. Various things that influence the plant growth. So in agro these agrochemicals, we've mentioned pests. Pests help in getting rid of insects. The pesticides. And then the herbicides, they get rid of the weeds. And then the insecticides control insects, and then the fungicides, they combat fungal infections from plants. And the fertilizers supply plants with necessary nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to boost growth and increase yield. So that is all about agroforestry. That is the definition.
Yeah, I think by now you fully understand what agrochemical is. Yes. Additionally, exposure to agrochemical residues can pose health risks to human, including potential links to certain diseases and long-term health problems. And those are the information that we're here to define for you and to break them down for you in order for you to understand them one by one. Yeah. First of all, one of the impacts that agrochemicals has on environment and human health is soil degradation. Definitely, soil degradation fall under environment. Yes. So one of the impact on the environment is soil degradation. This is what I mean when I talk about soil degradation. See, it's simply overuse of agrochemicals can lead to soil degradation. When you use the pesticides, the pesticide, the fertilizers too. The fertilizers too are part of the agrochemicals too much. Yeah, the herbicides. Yeah. And they can definitely degrade your soil when you overuse them, not only using them, because we all use pesticides and fertilizers in our farms, so we can't discourage you from using them. Definitely we will encourage you to use them where necessary and when necessary. So when you overuse them, or when you go to an agrovet, you buy excess pesticides, excess fertilizers, and then you just come and throw them in your shamba. Definitely your soil will be degraded, and it will result to maybe if you have plants, you've planted your crops and then you've overused the pesticides or even the fertilizers, you'll not get a good harvest. Yeah, you'll have a low yield. So example is like excessive nitrogen fertilizer can acidify the soil, having a beneficial soil organisms, just like I mentioned before. When you use excess pesticides or even excess fertilizer, you are acidifying your soil, and by acidifying your soil, there are organisms that live in that soil.
Yeah, the beneficial organisms.
Yes. And those beneficial organisms, they add nutrients to your soil. Maybe they are also manure, because some of them have fats. I don't know if you've seen, there's an organism that mostly it's always in the manure. I mostly see it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. One. The white one.
Yeah, it's a fatty. I don't know if it's an insect, a pest, or it's not a pest. I don't know, it's just an insect.
Yeah, you can find it mostly in cow dung, or you find it in these the thing, I don't know, the boma.
The decomposed materials, they're mostly found there. Those ones are just, they have fat. They are fatty.
Yeah.
So those ones are like manure. So when you're killing such an organism because of excessive use of agrochemicals, definitely you are degrading your soil, because that such type of an organism could have helped your soil get nutrients, and also it can also act as a manure to your soil. And if you just spray your farm using excessive pesticides and also excessive fertilizers while planting your crops, definitely your soil will be acidified, and then at the end of the day, the organisms will die.
Yeah, your soil will also lose value. It won't have that fertility that it had before you applied those kind of chemicals. Yeah, next is water pollution, another impact of agrochemicals in the environment. Water pollution is both in human health and on environment. So it can pollute water bodies, affecting aquatic life. For example, there is a river nearby, or any water body around that place. So when it rains, those chemicals are washed into the water bodies. So when they are washed there, the fish that are inside can die, or even the pest you spray those chemicals. Fish eat this kind of pest. So when they eat these insects, they end up dying. And pesticides, fish in nearby rivers or lakes needs oxygen. So through this, when these agrochemicals are washed into the rivers and the lakes, they cover the upper layer of the water, hence depleting oxygen from the water. So they may end up dying, or the fish may end up dying. I can give example of the area where I come from. So the people are planting, they are doing agriculture they are doing farming on the top of the river, like they are gullies, and then in the middle there is a river. So they are doing their farmings on the sides of the river, on the banks of the river. So when it rains, or normally when the water becomes so much, it goes to a point that it degrades the soil and the plants on the side of the river. Those plants have been they have applied chemicals on those plants. So when that soil is has chemicals, it has fertilizers. So when it mixes with water and then the soil dries, the river dries up, people go to make boreholes on that river. So when they make these boreholes, the water they are drinking is unhealthy. That's why you find people they have stomach aches, people are diarrheaing. So it is agrochemicals are very dangerous to human health and also to environment.
So the river dries and then the chemicals get into the river and people will still come back and drink that water.
Yeah, because we don't have any source of water, so we have to drink that water. You see, that is another very dangerous effect of agriculture of agrochemicals. Yeah. So be sure, be mindful of what you put in your garden. We were advising you to use organic fertilizers, organic chemicals. Yeah, these are good because they won't have very many negative effects compared to agrochemicals.
Okay, at this point, I think you people should talk to the government so that you're not affected with water that has been affected by the pesticides.
Yeah, and you know, in those farms also, you find that water has maybe become waterlogged. There are some water that are on the soil. The birds come and drink that water and they die. You see, that is both polluting the environment, polluting the air, polluting everything.
They're even affecting the birds.
Yeah.
Anyway, our next impact is called eutrophication. These terms, they are very difficult, but after we've explained, I hope you'll understand. So, when I talk about eutrophication, this is what I mean. High nutrients levels from fertilizers can cause rapid algae growth. You can explain to us algae growth because it seems you understand it better.
Okay, algae growth, algae. Algae is something that it is green. It is mostly green in color. It grows in the river banks, in the lakes, like in the small water bodies. You can find that there is a small swamp of water, and then you find that there is this green substance. It is smooth and sticky. It is on the banks of the river, on the walls, and also so this algae is very dangerous.
Yeah, so high nutrient levels from fertilizers can cause rapid. I've never known that the high nutrient levels fertilizers are the ones that cause that one. So mostly it appears on the rivers that are next to farms, right? I think
I'm not sure about that.
I think that is what happens because we only use fertilizers on our farms, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So the moment rain comes and washes away the fertilizer, then it will just get to the river that is next to it.
Yeah, that algae it's not a good thing because it has a very dangerous effect. That algae it grows in a way that it spreads more quickly.
Yeah. So that algae growth can lead to eutrophication. And this eutrophication, it depletes the water's oxygen, killing aquatic organisms, just like Ian was telling us in the previous points. Aquatic organisms, definitely they're like, how do I call them? We have these organisms that are in the water. There are so many. I won't say that fish is an organism. Not fish. There are so many animals and insects that live in the water. Yeah. So definitely when these algae when they grow, definitely they will, in one way or the other they'll affect the organisms that are in the water, and that is what we call eutrophication. Yes.
Yeah, another one is biodiversity loss. Biodiversity loss, they are very important organisms in the soil, and through this application of insecticides, herbicides, all these agrochemicals, it can lead to depletion of these good organisms. So agrochemical can reduce biodiversity by killing non-target species. Maybe you are targeting eliminating pests, but instead it kills these beneficial insects. The insects that may be encouraging cross pollination. or insecticide may kill beneficious insects along with pests. Yeah. So you are trying to kill the pest, but you end up killing these organisms that are very beneficial to your farm. Maybe these organisms they decompose and then add fertility to your soil. So through these agrochemicals, use of these agrochemicals, the organisms will get depleted and you won't have your fertile soil anymore. Your soil will even become dormant.
Yeah, actually, that takes us back to our first point. You remember when we were talking about excessive use of agrochemicals, definitely will kill organisms in your farm.
So be careful, be mindful of how you use those kind of chemicals. At least apply them in right quantities. Don't overuse them. Don't apply them in that large quantities, because it can not only affect the environment but also affect the entire world, the entire being of a human being.
Yeah, we have several impacts. We are here to tackle all of them for you. We are still live on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with a Z underscore media, and on our website www.afarmersmedia.com. So our next impact is bioaccumulation. Some agrochemicals can accumulate in organisms, becoming more concentrated as they move up the food chain. An example is DDT. If you've heard of DDT pesticide, it's a famous example actually. Let's talk about this bioaccumulation. Yeah, the agrochemicals, the ones that you talked about, the fertilizers, the pesticides, they accumulate in organisms. These same organisms that are on our farms. These same chemicals, they accumulate in the organisms and they become more concentrated as they move up the food chain. So now that we've said that these organisms can act as nutrients to the soil, the moment you use excessive of pesticides, excessive of fertilizers, definitely these organisms will swallow them.
Yeah.
The moment they swallow them, and then they still act as nutrients to your soil, and you've grown your plant there. Definitely as they're giving the soil the nutrients, they're also giving the soil the excessive fertilizers, and the soil is giving the crop that you've planted the same fertilizers that are excess.
Yeah.
Your crops won't grow well because you've used excessive of agrochemicals on the soil that has affected the organisms, and now the organisms are affecting the plant. It's a long chain, but I hope you are understanding it. From the agrochemicals to the organisms, from the organisms to the soil, now from the soil to the crop. Now the crop won't grow well because this chain, at some point there was use of excess agrochemicals.
Put it in mind that these organisms consume these agrochemicals. They concentrate on their bodies. For them to complete the food chain, they go, like when they die and rot in the soil, the plant absorbs that nutrient, thinking it is nutrients.
Yes.
And it is absorbing these agrochemicals. Yeah. So that takes us to our next point: pesticide resistance. So pests can develop resistance to pesticides, necessitating the use of stronger chemicals. This can increase the harmful cycle of increasing pesticides use. Sometimes you try to get rid of these pesticides. You say that let me take these pesticides and apply them to my farm, so to get rid of pests. And then you find out that there are other pests ni vichwa ngumu sana. Like you are trying all kinds of chemicals on them, but they are not doing anything. So the more you are trying to put these chemicals on these pests, finding different types of chemicals to get rid of these pests, it pollutes the environment, causes soil degradation, pollutes water, does all the kind of bad things to the environment. So be sure of what you are going to do, of what kind of treatment or chemicals you are going to apply on your farm that won't affect your soil or that won't affect your well-being.
Actually, we talked about some pests being tough-headed, and it just reminded me of a plant. I need to research on that plant and know the name of the plant.
Yeah.
It's It's like a string. The plant is always like a string, and it's kind of yellow in color. So this type of plant, whenever it gets to your fence or your plant, the plant dries automatically.
I've never heard of that though.
I think I should show you even a picture of it. It dries. It takes like a little time, and then it just starts drying. And then even if you just pluck just one string from that plant, from that, I don't know what it's not even a pest. That plant is a dangerous plant. I should get the name for you to know how
Yeah.
it looks like. When you just pluck one string and take it to the next fence or the next plant, it will deal with that plant or that fence just like that. It will just dry slowly by slowly. Now just like bees are used for cross pollination. Now this plant, these plants are the human beings are the ones who act like bees when it comes to moving this type of plant from this one place to another. Just when children are playing, and then they just see an interesting. It's a beautiful plant, by the way. It's a dangerous one, but a beautiful one.
Yeah, maybe you can find a picture for us so
Yes.
that we can see. I know others are very curious of what
Yeah,
it is.
it's just like it's a yellow in color, and it's just a string plant. They just look like strings. So when a child even picks just one piece of it and takes it to the next fence, that fence dries automatically.
Wow, that reminds me of these pesticides resistance. So if you see that your pests are very resistant to the chemicals you are applying onto them, you can use carnivorous plants. These plants, they consume insects. Yeah, there are these flowers you can use. You plant them on different parts of your farm. These when the insect lands on them, they consume that plant. Like you can see that the flower is like this. When the insect lands on it, it closes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So you can use those kind of plants to curb these things. So don't just apply chemicals, a chemical after a chemical to these plants.
I think at this point, maybe one of our viewers can tell us any other solution to such pests apart from those plants.
Apart from those chemicals.
Yes, apart from those chemicals, and also apart from those plants zenye ayani things in a meza, the insects.
Yeah, the carnivorous plants. They are very useful and very good and doesn't have any effects.
Do they have any bad smell?
No, I don't know. The ones I have come across, they are odorless. They don't have any smell.
So they are good plants. That takes us to our next point, which is air pollution. When I talk about air pollution, definitely you all know what air pollution is. Maybe when gases, most people I know are just familiar with maybe gases coming from factories and then polluting the air, or even vehicles, because even vehicles pollute the air. Yeah, but
Yeah, they do a lot.
yeah, but today we are talking about agrochemicals. So when it comes to air pollution, volatile agrochemicals can evaporate into the atmosphere, contributing to air pollution. For instance, some fertilizers release nitrous oxide, a potent greenhouse gas. So these fertilizers, they also have a smell. I can't say it's a scent. Scent is a sweet smell. So these ones, they also have a smell. Definitely, these are when they evaporate into the atmosphere, because they do evaporate. I don't know if you've met fertilizers. Do you say fertilizers that evaporate?
I think every fertilizer, every chemical that you apply in your farm evaporate at some point.
Yes. So the moment they evaporate to the environment, definitely they pollute the environment, because they have different smells.
Yeah.
And they remember they are chemicals.
Yeah.
So the chemicals evaporate to the air,
Yeah.
polluting the air easily.
Yeah, and this air is very harmful to human health. Human health, especially acute, it causes acute effects. So these effects have high exposures to some agrochemicals can cause immediate health issues like skin irritation, nausea, headaches, or even powning. Have you ever seen that sometimes the chemicals smell in a way that it's not pleasant. Definitely, these chemicals are not smelling well. So sometimes there are other people who can be irritated with that smell. They can start sneezing. Some people are very allergic to these kind of chemicals. They start sneezing or even scratching themselves due to contact with these kind of chemicals. And these chemicals, when you apply to your plants and your plants grow, when you go around your field and the plants get to touch your skin, you find that it causes irritation. You just find yourself scratching yourself and wonder what is wrong with my skin. And these are the causes of agrochemicals. You can also have headaches during this period while you are applying these chemicals in your farm. You can have headache, and it is also recommended that when you are engaged with any type of chemical, for example these herbicides, pesticides, and you're applying them in your farm, in your acres of farms, make sure you carry with you milk, so that if you have that headache, you drink this milk, it neutralizes this kind of thing.
Okay, so I can see it's exactly 11:58. We need to take a cup of water tupumzike kidogo before we come back. So let's take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in your soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The three main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run. Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in your soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The three main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run.
Welcome back to our mid-morning show. This is Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. We are so excited that you are able to join us. We are glad that you are here. This is a new month, new things, new topics. Yes, so today we are tackling the impacts of agrochemicals on environment and human health. And you can still tag along with us. We are still live on YouTube at A Farmers Media, on Facebook at A Farmers Media, on Twitter at A Farmers with the Z _ media, and on our website www.afarmersmedia.com. My name is Mary Oswero.
And I am Regina Ayanai. Welcome back. Welcome. I hope you are going to enjoy. I hope you are still listening to us. You are getting something out of A Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow.
Yes, continue sending us your comments, your feedbacks. We are here to listen to all of them. You can also contribute to our main topic of the day. And before we went for a break, we were talking about the impacts of agrochemicals on environment and human health. Yes, we are just generalizing all of them because we have for the environment and we have for the human health. So we're just going step by step so that we break it down for you and you get to learn a lot from our topic of the day.
Yeah, first of all, Mary, let's jog our listeners a little bit. Today being the Girlfriend's Day. What do you expect?
I don't know if that's a very difficult, hard question.
For me, I'm not even sure of what to do. I don't know, why do they put Girlfriend's Day?
What do they mean by girlfriends? Is it girlfriends? Is it that you are someone's girlfriend? You have a boyfriend, or just you are both females and now you have a girlfriend, a friend who is a girl? I don't really understand, but anyway, it is Girlfriend's Day. If at all you have a girlfriend, you can wish her a happy Girlfriend's Day. Siku kama hizi, men really assume them.
Yeah.
Actually, they really say that ladies have so much to celebrate. Mara Girlfriend's Day, kidogo, Valentine's Day.
Nowadays they say that Valentine is for
ladies. Yes, Mara Valentine's Day, Girlfriend's Day. Kidogo utasikia mtu amesema celebrating my first time when I came to Nairobi.
Yes. Or celebrating the first time I did what? I bought my first shoes.
Yes. The first time I wore heels.
Yes.
You're also celebrating that. And then men also don't like birthdays. But ladies, we have so many things to celebrate. Now today's Girlfriend's Day. I want to wish all our ladies who are viewers a happy Girlfriend's Day. You are my girlfriend today.
Yes, for happy today. Girlfriend's Day.
Yeah, and if you have a girlfriend out there, assume as a man, it is not good to assume. Even if we have so many things in a year, we can celebrate 50 things. But that's why we are ladies.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we went for a break, we were still talking about the impacts. Yeah, and Diane had already mentioned the health, the human health,
the acute effects.
And now for me, I have the chronic effects. Yes, we have the human health, acute effects, and the human health, chronic effects. Now, the chronic effects is what I mean. Long-term exposure to certain agrochemicals can lead to a series of health issues like cancer, neurological disorder, and hormonal disruption. Cancer is a deadly disease, actually.
Yeah, a very bad disease.
You don't wish any of your, you don't even wish your enemy to have cancer. Yeah.
Cancer is a disease that is so bad. If it gets to your hand, you have to cut that hand. Imagine losing your organ to cancer.
Yeah. So those who have cancer, we just pray for them to get better. So agrochemicals also affects the human health or the chronic parts. You can easily get cancer. You can easily get neurological disorder and even hormonal disruptions. Actually, we have hormones and we have different types of hormonal disruptions. There are people for ladies. There are ladies who they don't get their monthly periods each and every month.
Yeah, there are many ladies out there.
Imbalance. Yes, so excessive use of long-term exposure to certain agrochemicals. When you are ever exposed to agrochemicals, it can make you get cancer and even things like hormonal imbalance.
Yes, and you consume these agrochemicals without your knowledge. You can find that the farmer planted the maize using a lot of agrochemicals, and the plant absorbed these chemicals. When you end up eating these kind of plants, you can gets these kind of diseases. So be careful of what you eat and of what you buy.
And actually, those who have children, I see back in the village, when someone is going to the farm, they just carry their children to the farm. You might never know. You can never know how your children will be affected, because when you're going to the farm, definitely you're going to use fertilizers. When you're
Yeah.
using the excessive fertilizers and you have children there, you'll never know. You just in most cases, sometimes you realize that a child has cancer and you don't know where the cancer came from.
Yeah, and sometimes you have taken your kid to the farm. You know, the kids that is at crawling stage, and you know, kids love eating sand, soil. So you find that your kid has eaten soil, and that soil contains these chemicals. You just find that in the at night your kid is crying, stomachache, and in no time you will end up losing your kid. So be careful of how you use these kind of agrochemicals.
It's so painful that you're the one who exposed your child to those chemicals without you knowing, and then your child develops cancer. I'm just talking on behalf of children because I've visited hospitals that have cancer patients, children who have cancer. It's so painful because sometimes they are there and they don't even know why they're
Like
there.
very young children.
Very young children, yes. You don't even know why your child has cancer, and without you knowing, you exposed your child to these agrochemicals, excessive of them, and now your child developed something that you don't even understand where it came from. That's why I highly recommend that if you have a child and you know you're going to use harmful chemicals in your farm, you better just leave that child at home.
Yes.
Yeah, so that the child doesn't get exposed to these things, and then you end up spending a lot of money when eating something that you don't know where it came from.
Yeah, so be mindful of what you are doing. So another one, another effect of agrochemicals on environment and human health is it harms pollinators. So some pesticides like non-cotinoids are harmful to bees and other pollinators, which are vital for many crops and plants. I was just talking about how they harm useful insects that are like pollinators. You find that the insect that cause this pollination, the cross pollination, any type of pollination, they are getting harmed due to these agrochemicals. So when you apply excess agrochemicals in your farm, these insects tend to breathe that chemical. They breathe those chemicals. They eat plants from those chemicals. They end up dying, and you just realize that your farm is stagnant. It's not growing. The produce is not a good produce. There is no pollination taking place. This is because you applied a lot of agrochemicals, which got rid of these pollinators.
So actually, when the pollinators like bees, they don't like agrochemicals.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can harm the bees also using these pollinators. When they come to that certain plant, wanting to land on that plant, they feel that smell, or even they are chased away by that kind of smell. So they keep on skipping plants until there is no pollination that takes place, and that is as a result of applying these agrochemicals.
Actually, remember the chain we were talking about before we went for a break? From the agrochemicals to the organisms, then from the organisms to the soil, from the soil to the plant.
Yes.
I think that is what now, the moment your plant grows with that kind of a chain, the pollinators definitely will disappear.
Yeah, and there are other insecticides that are applied on the plant's leaves, on the plants generally, not even on the soil. So when you apply this kind of pesticides on your plant's leaves, these leaves, the insecticides, there are other useful insects, as I said earlier, that are useful during pollination, during during the deposition of fungi, which can help the soil. So when they land in these kind of plants that are very toxic with these chemicals, they end up dying. So there won't be any good produce in your farm because there is no pollination that has taken place. So you'll end up losing a lot.
At some point, you'll even think that you only planted the male mates.
Yeah. Anyway, be mindful of how you use these kind of agrochemicals.
Let's talk about food contamination. When I talk about food contamination, definitely the first thing that comes into my mind is food poisoning. I don't know why. Anyway, residual agrochemicals can contaminate food crops, posing potential health risks to consumers. For example, certain pesticides may remain on fruits and vegetables after using. The moment you spray your chemicals or your pesticides, the moment you spray them on your fruits, definitely you'll harvest that fruit, you'll wash it, and maybe just unfortunately when you wash it and you don't remove all the chemicals that were on the fruit, you'll definitely get food poisoning.
It's not even on the chemical on the fruit only washing. You know, some people like us just pick the fruit from the tree and you eat like that. You don't know what is inside there. You might end up selling those kind of fruit to people, and there are others who don't wash such kind of fruits. They just eat it like that. For example, avocado or the orange. Many people don't see the use of washing their upper layer, so they just cut like that. Yeah, you just cut like that and eat like that. You see, so the contact between your hand on that fruit becomes connected, so you end up eating that chemical on the upper layer.
Yeah. So it also affects the vegetables. When you apply those chemicals on your vegetables, even on your farm, then after harvesting, you just wash, because I believe we all wash our vegetables. When you wash and you don't wash them well, chemicals will remain there. You'll prepare it even for your guests. You will embarrass yourself. You'll prepare it for your guests. They will take it, and then after that, they start becoming sick. You'll be the one to blame. So these agrochemicals are also bad when you use excessive of them on fruits and vegetables. They will remain there after spraying it. They will remain there and contaminate them. And after eating them, they result to food poisoning or food contamination.
Just like I said, it also contaminates groundwater. You know, many people have boreholes. Many people put boreholes in the rivers. When you go to fetch water, especially in semi-arid areas like Turkana or Samburu, you find that people are fetching water in these kind of rivers. So when there is a lot of application of agrochemicals in the shambas, when the flood comes or the rain comes, it takes these chemicals into these water sources. Through this, the people will be able to drink this water without knowing the content of the water. So they end up feeling sick, they end up vomiting, diarrhea, they end up getting into the hospitals. So as a farmer, being mindful of others, don't only be mindful of yourself alone. You have to make sure that the food security is enhanced. So applying agrochemicals requires a special skill. You don't just apply in excessive amounts. So it can also leach into groundwater. So when you apply these agrochemicals in your farm, the water gets into the ground. You see, that water flows. Of course, in the ground, it supplies in different areas through over time. So through this, it can contaminate different water sources. Yeah.
Or even if it rains, after you've applied your chemicals and it rains, and then let's just assume there's a water body next to that place. It rains in your farm. You had the chemicals sprayed all over. The water definitely will move with the fertilizers or even with the chemicals into the water body. And people will use that water, just like you are telling us before that that happens. Actually, you're telling us that happens in your home area. Yes, the chemicals are swept into the water, and people will just take that water, not knowing.
Yeah, because there is no other source of water for the people in that area. So the only source of water is that river. So they have to drink water from that river unless they want to die.
And mostly they don't treat the water, right?
Yes. It is very rare to find people in my area treating water. And you know what? They have very strong immune system. You find them they are very healthy. They don't have anything.
Even if they have strong immune system, I think the government should do something about this water thing in Turkana.
Yeah. But again, they might be drinking that water. yeah, that water has never affected the people that much. It doesn't have side effects like corona, not cholera. I'm
Cholera.
used to corona already. Not like the cholera, the amoeba in the, yeah. That things really happens in those kinds of areas, except especially if you find someone with cancer, then that is application of these agrochemicals, because it is very rare to find people having cancer in that site, because they are not consuming any chemical substances. They don't use roico or any other, not roico, I mean the I don't know, the spicy thing that cause cancer. The spices that cause cancer.
But don't listen to Ayan because there are people who have strong immune system. Now you can just drink water. Don't assume you have strong immune system. No, just those are just people from her area.
Yes, people from my area. Make sure you boil your water before drinking.
Or even treat it actually.
Yeah.
We have different we have different, do I say chemicals? They're not chemicals that you can use to treat your water before drinking. Yes, our next point is harm to soil microbiota. I told you these terms, they are complicated, but we'll break them down for you. Agrochemicals can harm the beneficial microorganisms in the soil, affecting soil fertility and crop health. Actually, we already talked about that before, but we didn't measure on crop health. So when you want to have healthy crops, you have to minimize on how you're using the agrochemicals. You have to use them according to instructions. Actually, don't just see pests or diseases on your crops and then you keep on spraying chemicals, believing that if I spray so much, the pests will disappear immediately. No. The moment you're doing that, you are affecting your crops. The moment you're using so much agrochemicals on your crops, you're affecting your crops. And then it is also affecting the soil fertility. That is what we talked about before we went for a break. Yes.
Yeah, so make sure that you research on the chemicals you want to use on your farm. If they are not beneficial in your farm, they are not getting rid of this kind of insects, go back to that expert who recommended those kind of thing. Tell him or her that these chemicals are not working on this pesticide. They keep increasing, or they are resistant to this kind of chemical. So he or she will be able to recommend another type of insecticide that is even good, rather than continuing applying excessive chemicals, all kind of chemicals, trying to get rid of these common pests. So make sure you are being mindful of others, being mindful of the environment.
At the end of the day, you'll end up losing your crops because you are busy applying agrochemicals. So if you want good yields, apply the right ones. If it doesn't work, ask an expert to give you a different one. But we are experts. I believe that they know the right thing to do. They know the right chemicals to give. So I don't think they'll give it to you twice.
Yeah,
Just
I think
use
they
the one
can.
that
I
you're
think
giving.
they can.
The moment-
Because there are other pests that are very resistant.
They're
Like you
resistant,
can
but-
apply these chemical, and they are resisting that chemical. So you have to go back to that expert and tell him or her, this is the type of the pest that I was getting rid of, and it is very resistant to this kind of chemical. What should I use? And then the person, of course, he has that knowledge. He has researched. He knows another it is called what? The backup. He knows the backup. Something else that can get rid of this pest. Because if you continue applying this chemical in excess amount, saying that it will get rid of this pest, it can't.
But do you realize at the moment you keep on adding chemicals, you've used this one, the pest has resisted. You again go to the experts to give you. It's better.
Like,
That's why we have the plantings app. The moment you're using the app, you can just take a picture of the pest that is in your farm, and then you definitely get to know what's happening for you to avoid using those excessive
like
chemicals.
you don't apply for the whole farm, just a portion, and see how it goes. Of course, you have to try it out, and then if you see that it is well and good, then well and good. But if you see that it is still resistant, then go look for other ways.
Yes.
And then there is economic costs. The cost of cleaning up contaminated water of soil can be very significant. It is very, very hard to clean soil water after contamination with these agrochemicals. So it is very hard because you will spend a lot of money, the money that is even not worth the crops you are growing in that field. So make sure that during this application of agrochemicals, be mindful of how you do. Mm-hmm.
We also have climate change.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some agrochemicals contribute to climate change. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about climate change and weather
Mm-hmm.
in our last show. So, for example, the production and application of nitrogen fertilizer releases significant amounts of greenhouse gases. The
Mm-hmm.
moment the greenhouse gases have been released and they are out there in the air, they'll affect the climate, not the weather, the climate. Do you remember what you were told about the climate and the weather?
Mm-hmm. They are very two different things.
Don't assume that climate is same as weather.
Yeah, climate changes over time, but weather can change anytime.
You were told, yes, over time.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yes. So those agrochemicals, they also contribute to climate change. So even when you're using them, don't complain that the climate is changing, because definitely not you're not the only person using agrochemicals in your farm.
Yeah, and there have been complaints all over the world about this effect of agrochemicals. The environmentalists are complaining about how the agriculturalists are leading to climate change, like they are affecting climate change
They're
because due to this,
contributing.
yeah, they're contributing to climate change because of these chemicals they are using. So they say that these kind of chemicals that are, for example, in the dung, the cow dung, they the chemical that goes to the hair, to the air. So when these chemicals go to the air, they do a lot of stuff, and I don't know those processes, and they affect climate change. Yeah. So another one is loss of traditional knowledge. Dependence on chemicals can lead to loss of traditional farming practices and knowledge, affecting the resilience of farming system. You know, people have adopted like many ways, like digital ways of getting rid of these pests and diseases by using agrochemicals. They tend to forget that they also have other practices and knowledge of the past, the knowledge of what they used to do, of traditional what they used to do traditionally. So they tend to ignore the fact that they have other traditional methods that are even far more better, that they will use to get rid of these pests and diseases. Instead, they try to use these chemicals, agrochemicals, just because it's a trend.
I think nowadays we even don't have the traditional ways of farming. Aki, the modern ways have just let's say swallowed the traditional
Yes,
ways.
yes, they have. They really have.
Even those who just plant their crops to eat at home, they're using chemicals.
Yeah, they are using chemicals because they too want to make the plants bigger or even grow faster.
Grow faster.
Yeah.
Yes. People are not farmers are not patient actually. That's what I've realized. And nowadays farmers are not patient. You want something that you'll plant today, within a few months it's out.
Like in traditional way, they use different methods. You can't tell me that agrochemicals were still there in traditional
They were using
times.
manure actually.
Yeah, they were using organic fertilizers, organic manure, something that is more useful, something that doesn't contain chemicals to curb these kind of diseases and pests. So traditional knowledge can be depleted. It can get lost over time due to the use of these agrochemicals.
I feel it is already lost.
Yeah. And people are continuing to make it even disappear, like by force. You know,
nowadays I don't even know. If you ask me about the traditional ways of farming, I won't tell you because I don't even remember them.
Yeah, for me too. By the way, I remember very few of them, and I don't think that these are the practices that people are doing nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants a shortcut. They want something they can just do it very easily, like very faster. But you know, in traditional way, they used to handpick paste. Yeah, they used to unpick paste.
They were not afraid.
Yeah, they were not afraid. They used to unpick paste. They used different other methods of controlling these pests and diseases. They use ash. So they use a lot of things. But nowadays, it seems that this knowledge is not in use. people are tending to forget all these about the traditional knowledge.
Actually, just talked about ash, and I just remembered in our place when we have pests in our sukuma wiki, we apply ash, and then you're told now we will not be eating sukuma wiki for around 1 week until the pests disappear, or until the rains come, and then they wash away the ash.
You know, my brother planted my little brother planted tomatoes, and I saw him applying the ash, and I was like, how did you learn about this? He told me that, this ash, I'm using this to control pests. And I told him, where did you learn this from? He told me, grandpa told me to do so.
That is a traditional way.
Yeah, and I was so
it works.
Yeah,
it works. Actually, it works. See, I'm promoting ash so much because I've really been promoting ash this shows.
Maybe you can tell us what ash did to you.
Ash has some magic. Anyway, we also talked about birds. Birds are also pollinators. So they also one of the impacts is also of agrochemicals is that they also have effects on birds. Many agrochemicals are harmful to birds, either directly by poisoning or indirectly by reducing their food resources. When I talk about poisoning, just like I said, when you spread your agrochemicals or your pesticides on already grown plants, definitely the birds will come to eat when the products are ready.
Yeah,
the birds will come to eat when the pesticides or the agrochemicals are on the crops. After the birds have eaten, let's assume that you planted something like mangoes. When they are ripe, definitely they will attract the birds. When the birds come and eat those mangoes, they'll be highly affected and even cause their death, or even they become sick. Yes, because those chemicals are harmful to their health, and for the birds, they don't know.
Yeah, they just eat. For them, they just eat. And you know that when you find that there are pesticides that are resistant to these kind of chemicals, so the more you apply on them, the more the birds eat these kind of pests. So when they eat these pests, they die due to these chemicals. You've been applying these chemicals on these pests. The pests have consumed a lot of chemicals. They continue to resist. So when the bird eat this kind of pest, they die. So that is also affecting the environment.
I think the only pest that is not affected by agrochemicals is monkey. We have so many monkeys in our village, by the way. I don't know where those monkeys came from, but there are always many.
Yeah.
Even if you apply agrochemicals in your farm, they will just come. I don't know how they know.
Of course they know.
They normally attack our bananas. They come to feed on our bananas. They know how to choose which one we have applied a chemical on it, which one is good.
Monkey are very knowledgeable.
Those pests are wise, by the way.
They are very cunning.
Anyway, I think someone should tell us in the comment section how you can deal with monkeys. Just help me personally, so that I help my village people. How you can deal with monkeys so that monkeys do not attack or even get into your farms and eat your products.
And then there is dependency. Over reliance on agricultural chemicals can lead to a cycle of dependency as soils become less fertile and pests become more resistant. So when you rely, like you use, like you don't practice any other method of controlling pests, you're only relying on these agrochemicals, it can lead to a cycle of dependency. So the soils will become less fertile and the pests become more resistant. So the more you do that, the more your soil becomes less and less and less fertile. You see that you will lose a lot from that. Just that your soil are less fertile, then you won't have a lot of produce. Your plants won't grow well. So this dependency on agrochemicals, this dependency on agrochemicals can lead to a significant loss.
We also have effect on ecosystem. When I talk about effect on ecosystem services, this is what I mean. By harming biodiversity, agrochemicals can affect ecosystem services like pollination and natural pest control and nutrient cycling. We already talked about pollination. When I talk about natural pest control, there are different ways. There are different natural ways that you can use to control pests. Yes, just like you said, back then they were hand picking the pests. That is a natural way of controlling the pests.
Yes, it's a very natural way and doesn't cost a dime.
And also we have a nutrient cycling. Maybe your plants have nutrients. You planted your crops and they have good nutrients, but not the moment you apply agrochemicals to them, excessive of it, they'll even lose some nutrients. Yes.
Yeah, so be mindful. I'll still repeat, be mindful. Anyway, find us on our social media. Always tune in, comment, and like. At Facebook, find us at A Farmers Media, in YouTube, at A Farmers Media, in Twitter, at A Farmers Media with a Z, in our website at www.farmers.com. And let's continue to the next point.
Yeah.
So the next point is food security, food insecurity.
I was about to ask you food security.
Okay, it's food insecurity. So decreased crop yields can increase. It can cause decreased crop yield and increased food security, food insecurity. So you find that people are having stomachache all over the world. Like everybody is vomiting. You find that there are other type of maize or corn that are very poisonous. They have announced that food insecurity is not good at this certain area. This is because in that specific area they have used a lot of chemicals, especially in areas where they practice farming in large quantities. Like you find that a lot of people in that particular area are practicing farming. You find that many of them are applying chemicals, and these chemicals at once can cause a very significant bad effect. So when everybody in that particular area is applying chemicals on their farm, and then it rains, this water, they move from one place to another. That is like supplying chemicals all over. So when they supply, there is maybe another farmer who doesn't use these agrochemicals but grows his plants. Still, it will affect that farmer because all these chemicals have combined to one place, sweeping over all the farms. So this can lead to food insecurity. Yeah.
That's all we had on our topic of the day. Yes, it's been a great topic. I believe today's topic has really you've really been educated concerning today's topic. I don't know if you have any last words.
Anyway, all I can say is that just be mindful of what you do with your farm. Be careful on all the practices you practice while engaging in your farm. Use natural methods while harvesting, try to use natural methods because this will enable your harvest to be a healthy harvest, and also it can promote food security. So guys, I hope you guys are still watching us, but we've come to the end of our show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like I always say, each and every day we always have our proverb of the day. We have to be wise, to jog your minds a little bit. So our proverb of the day is, the nation that destroys soil destroys itself. I repeat again, the nation that destroys soil destroys itself. I'd like to appreciate those who are behind the camera, our director, our producer, our camera person. Thank you so much for enabling this show to happen. I really appreciate also you, my viewers. Thank you so much for joining us in our today's show. At 3 p.m. we'll be having the Farm Drive show, so ensure you stay tuned. We'll still be live in our social media platforms at A Farmers Media. Ensure you tune in and you also contribute to the topic at the evening drive show. That's all we had for you this mid-morning. That's all we had for you this mid-morning. I've been your host, Mary Oswero.
And I've been Regina Ayanai. Have a lovely day.
Crops use up nutrients from the soil when growing.
fertilizers are there to help return these nutrients to the soil. They support crops to grow bigger, faster, and produce more food. Crops need different types of fertilizers and nutrients at different stages of growth. For instance, phosphorus, B, helps with early root formation and growth. Nitrogen, N, helps leaf and stem growth. And potassium, K, helps fruits to form and mature. Do a soil test on your shamba, as this will tell you what nutrients your soil has or is lacking, and it will advise on which fertilizer to use for the crops you want to grow. Remember that the benefits of fertilizer will only last for 1 or 2 seasons. So, it's good to add manure to your soil when planting, as this helps boost soil fertility and improve the quality and health of your soil over time, thereby reducing the need for fertilizer. Manure has a mix of
Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in your soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The 3 main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run.